The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has ordered former Finance Minister Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala and the federal government to provide information on the spending of the 30 trillion naira allegedly missing from government coffers. The amount represents some accruable income to the federal government during the last 4 years of the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan. The judgment was delivered last week by Justice Ibrahim Buba following a Freedom of Information suit brought by a non-governmental organization, Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project. SERAP's suit followed allegations by the former governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Charles Soludo, that at least 30 trillion naira has either been stolen, unaccounted for, or grossly mismanaged over the last few years under Dr. Okonjo-Iweala's watch. Justice Buba said the former coordinating minister of the economy and the federal government have no legally justifiable reason for refusing to provide SERAP with the information requested for. Members of the Nigerian police force have sealed off the premises of the People's Democratic Party, blocking access into the party's secretariat in Abuja. The security operatives are preventing party members from getting into the PDP headquarters. One of the security men who spoke on condition of anonymity says they were directed to seal off the premises. He did not give or did not say who gave the directive to seal up the party's headquarters. Yesterday, the leadership of the party held a convention in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, where a caretaker committee was set up after Ali Modu Sheriff was removed as national chairman of the PDP. Staying with that story, the governor of River State and chairman of Saturday's national convention of the People's Democratic Party in Port Harcourt, Mr. Nyesom Wike, has justified the removal of Ali Modu Sheriff as national chairman of the PDP. In an exclusive interview with Channels Television, Governor Wike explained the party's decision, which is in line, he says, with the rule of law. However, former political advisor to former President Goodluck Jonathan, Mr. Ahmed Gulak, has described as illegal the national convention held by the leadership of the PDP.
What was shocking to all of us was that the former National Working Committee, not officers of the party, in collaboration with certain people whom you don't know what interest they do, where they are trying to help some people to destroy the party, obtained some kind of court injunction. Modu Sheriff was with us. He was pleading that, okay, dissolve, sack everybody, but let me be in charge of the caretaker for the people. Some people now said, no, it's more dangerous. Having an antecedent. How did you go to court? What were you looking for? And you were denying. So they said, no. We discovered that part of the crisis we have had or we're having in some of the states was because he was setting up structures in virtually those states that do not have governors. So we have 36 states. We have governor in 12 states. So for him, 24 states, if he sets up structure in 24 states, whether the governors will support him or not is immaterial. Now, he has even gone to make promises to people who don't want presidential candidates. A party we are trying to unite, a party that we are trying to build together, and that ambition would destroy the party. And that was very bad.
If they did not want Ali Modu Sheriff as a chairman, they would have passed a vote of no confidence or removed him in NEC. Because in the convention, it is only the chairman that can preside over a convention and you get the result acceptable or accepted. That is our law, that is the provisions of the Constitution, and for anybody to preside over any assemblage and to label it convention is illegal, it's not recognized under our Constitution. Caretaker committee is not recognized under our Constitution at this level. So what happened is not only null and void, but a clear violation of court order.
To security matters now, suspected militants have attacked a crude oil pipeline operated by Ajib in Bayelsa State. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps says the Ajib pipeline was attacked in the early hours of today around 12:30. The NSCDC says a gang of armed youths vandalized the pipeline along the Azazwama axis. Reports suggest dynamites were used to ignite fire on the line. According to the NSCDC, one of these suspected attackers has been arrested. ENI, which operates in Nigeria through its subsidiary Egypt, authorities could not be reached to comment on the attack. The oil-rich Niger Delta region of Nigeria seems to have again come under siege by militants after 7 years of relative peace. An emergent militants group styling itself the Niger Delta Avengers has claimed responsibility for attacks on Chevron's Okon oil offshore platform, as well as Shell oil facilities. Suspected militants also blew up another section of an NNPC gas trunk line in Warri's southwest local government area in Delta State. In this special report, our correspondent Emmanuel Irei takes a look at the impact of these attacks on security and the economy.
Between 2005 and 2009, the oil-rich region of the Niger Delta saw the peak of militant activity, resulting in deaths of civilians, soldiers, and the destruction of Nigeria's oil and gas installations, with losses running into billions of dollars. An amnesty program initiated by the Yar'Adua administration saw the return of stability in crude oil production. But the region has again come under siege by suspected militants who are threatening to bring the nation to its knees. Latest data from April monthly oil market report of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries show Nigeria's crude oil production fell by 67,000 barrels per day in March, from 1.744 million barrels per day to 1.677 million barrels per day due to the attack on Chevron's facility. One of the leaders in the armed struggle in the militancy era tells me that though he has no links with the new group known as Niger Delta Avengers, the issues of marginalization in the region are still germane.
The people of Niger Delta are saying, you cannot use our money for 97, 95%. We, the 7% that you say you will not develop us, that you will not come with arrogance, say, that our own, we will keep it. Go and get for your 95% and develop them.
Earlier, an elder in the region expressed his concerns.
When you have a good case, God will answer your case. But not by destroying the country economy. Not by sabotaging. We've had enough. Destroying pipeline, what are the consequences? The pipeline is blown up. The oil comes out. It pollutes our water.
The problem of Niger Delta is being caused by us, by ourselves. So some of us should not go under the disguise of agitation, of self-benefit, claiming that they are fighting for Niger Delta.
Some Niger Delta activists differ in their opinions on the activities of the new militant group.
It is in favor of my people. It is in favor of justice and equity. I have no time encouraged people who are armed from time immemorial. From the time people like Asari Dokubo and John Polo and all of those people were in the creeks, I have never supported any form of violence.
But who are these Avengers? On their website, they claim to be young, educated, and well-traveled, as well as better armed and more civilized than past militants. The call is for the federal government to treat these hostilities in the Niger Delta with firmness and caution, not ruling out the possibility of dialogue, of course, beef up security around oil and gas installations and the creeks in the Niger Delta, and halt further destruction of the nation's facilities in the region. Emmanuel Irei, Channels Television News.
The movement for the emancipation of Niger Delta has dissociated itself from the activities of militants group Niger Delta Avengers. A press statement issued by MEN describes the Avengers as a tool in the hands of some elements determined to destabilize efforts being made by the federal government to develop the region. MEN adds that it has no reason to break the unilateral ceasefire on hostilities, which it declared on May 30th, 2014, and would give President Muhammadu Buhari more time to address security and economic concerns across the country. Since 2011, Nigeria has been plagued with the challenge of insurgents in the northeast and only began to make much progress in the fight last year. As if that was not enough, attacks by alleged herdsmen in the north, central and southeast have become a cause for concern. Now, a new group has sprung in the Niger Delta, calling itself the Niger Delta Avengers. It claims to be fighting for more revenue allocation for the region because of its oil. To drive home their demands, they threatened to blow up oil pipelines and have succeeded in some areas. This morning, they carried out their latest attack on an Niger pipeline in Bayelsa State. The government is talking about nipping the group in the bud using the military. But would that really solve the problem? Joining me now on the news at 10 to discuss this is security expert General Cecil Esahaibi. General, thank you so much for joining me on the news at 10.
Thank you so much.
Okay, how would you describe this group? Because we don't really know what to call them. Are they a terror group or are they insurgents?
Well, like you heard them say, they are Niger Delta Avengers. The true situation is that the major militant groups that we knew where they were are all dissociating themselves from these guys. So the issue is, who are they are from where, and what is their intention? So this is where intelligence comes in.
Now, they're agitating for more revenue. They could be right, they could be wrong in agitating for more, but what's the best way they could have gone about expressing their demands instead of blowing up oil pipelines?
You see, there is a very good platform for them to express their grievances, even though looking at those grievances are nothing to write about, because you see they lack a foundation and they lack any sense of understanding. But the issue is that there is an amnesty program that has been put in place by late Yaradua, which was meant to solve this problem. Whether some people like it or not, this amnesty program, to a very large extent, has achieved its purpose. Because pre-amnesty program, we were talking about 700 barrels of oil per day. And post-amnesty, the thing rose to about 2.4 million barrels per day. So this is a genuine platform for them, to key into the program. Although the amnesty program itself has a kind of disconnect, because the platform of it was a DDRO initiative, that is disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration. While the two Ds, the disarmament and demobilization, has fared well, but the reintegration phase has not really been coordinated. So there is a disconnect between the three arms that make up the DDR. So most of those militants that were ex-militants that were trained and brought back to Nigeria have not really been able to be reintegrated to society. A lot of them have been trained, but they don't have jobs. So what are the reasons for not giving them jobs? So the federal government must begin to think on what to do with these guys. Because the president, in his inauguration address, allayed the fears of so many people who were anxious about the future of amnesty program. He said clearly that those who are in that amnesty program, already captured before the expiration time, will be well invested in. So it's now left for the leadership of the amnesty program to bring forward to the government what they have done and what is remaining to be done. Because if you don't address these guys that have gone on training and come back, and they are not well employed, there is room for dissidents, and there is room for some of these actions that are taking place.
And you rightly mentioned that because they have been blowing up pipelines ever since they, became an organization. This morning they blew up the Ajib oil pipeline, and the government has deployed security operatives to the Niger Delta to protect the pipelines. Is there any other way we could go about this? Perhaps, is there room for negotiation between this group and the federal government?
Well, the president, when he was receiving one of the Shell's executives, called on the people of Niger Delta to key into the platform that is already existing, the amnesty program, to address their grievances. And I, as a stakeholder in that program, I'm also calling on the political leaders of the Niger Delta to key into this program by bringing these guys on board. And how do you identify these guys? They are just not there. You need deep intelligence to identify these guys. Because right now, we must avoid what they call false positive, diagnosing wrongly when a program is a kind of medical issue is on. So false positive is going to be a problem, but that is coming in through faulty intelligence. If you have a deep intelligence into what is going on, you'll be able to isolate these guys that are fomenting this trouble. Because right now, they are making claims and counterclaims of they are part of this program, they want to do this, they want to do that. But you have a detailed intelligence analysis, you'll be able to fish out these elements and know where they belong. Whether they were tools in the hands of the politicians who felt they were not taken care of after the exercise, or whether they are genuine agitators. But their demands clearly state that, look, they are not genuine dictators, but they are just a few people, some scrupulous elements who are taking undue advantage. So it is now left for the leaders of the Niger, political leaders of the Niger Delta, especially the present leadership of the amnesty program, to bring these guys on board through a proper review of the amnesty program towards proper implementation of reintegration phase.
Then what strategy should security operatives utilize in dealing with this onslaught to make sure that this doesn't escalate into something worse?
I couldn't hear you there. Sorry.
Okay. What strategy should security operatives utilize in dealing with this onslaught so that it doesn't become worse?
I would recommend a kind of carrot and stick system. Bring these guys on board while you do, some kind of, cope up of the area to be able to identify, where these things are coming from. But don't know that the terrain of the Niger Delta is very, very hazardous and it's not easy to actually maneuver with. So most of the military guys are there right now are actually essentially doing what they call protecting the key points and the vulnerable points. But the vast network of the pipelines in that region calls for a very meticulous approach to identifying the cause of this problem and seeing how they can be arrested. But like I said, they need to be brought, to the negotiation table using the platform of the amnesty program. And I completely advise that the leadership of the amnesty program to see how they can review the reintegration phase where all the elements of the Niger Delta are taken care of, especially the ex-militants that have been demobilized and disarmed.
General Esak Haibe, thank you so much for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you so much.
When the News at 10 returns, Vice President Professor Yemi Oshibajo to represent the President on his 2-day official visit to Lagos. Please join us again.